Good morning students. Today I am going to start elective paper which is a compulsory paper for both PCM and CBZ classes, and then unit 1 chapter 1.1 laboratory safety. Now let us see the part 1 of this chapter. Now what are the contents present in this part? First one is introduction and objectives. Second one, general laboratory protocols. In that, basic rules, good personal habits and behavior, and then housekeeping. Now let us see the introduction and objective part. Alright. Laboratory safety is very much important, like any other subject taught under science syllabus. Working with chemicals is a challenge to one's health and also to the environment. Laboratory work is a critical component of all chemistry programs, beginning with introductory level undergraduate classes. Therefore, students need to develop a solid foundation in the basic principles and procedures of laboratory safety, and to deepen their knowledge as they progress through their academic career. A broad background in safety education and basic familiarity with common laboratory hazards is expected. The main aim of teaching this topic is to make the students to know the chemical safety as they are working in a laboratory environment. Alright. Now let us see general laboratory protocols. What are the basic rules? First one is safety goggles are compulsory for all the lab workers. Second one, each one working in the lab must wear lab coats and full pants. Third one, must wear gloves and should be removed before touching other working area outside the lab, that is, for example, computers or door knobs, etc. Fourth one, cover the feet completely with the shoes with the reasonable heat heights. And then do not wear lab coats in common areas like canteen or restrooms, etc. Alright. Fifth one, lab workers are not allowed to work alone inside the lab. Sixth one, they must be aware of the proper operation of lab safety equipment and location. Seventh one is workers as well as students and staff should know the exits in the laboratory and building. Let us now concentrate on good personal habits and behavior. Alright. First one, avoid eating, drinking, bubble gum and tobacco chewing in the lab. Second one, do not use a mobile phone in the lab. Third one, do not use ice from the ice machines for lab use for beverages or food storages. Fourth one, do not smell or taste chemicals. Fifth one, do not mix unknown chemicals. Sixth one, avoid skin contact with chemicals. Seventh one, wash hands thoroughly before leaving the lab. Alright. Let us say now what are the housekeeping works in the lab. First one, lab areas must be kept clean and uncluttered. Spills should be cleaned up immediately from work areas and floors. Third one, equipment and instrumentation shall be cleaned to remove spillage and contamination after use. Fourth one, clear exits and hallways for obstructions leading to slipping or tripping hazards, that is due to boxes, electrical cords or other items on the floor. Fifth one, ensure unblocked access to eye wash or electrical panels or fire extinguishers, etc. Sixth one, empty containers of unwanted materials including trash on a regular basis and never allow them to overflow. Seventh one, store excess materials in a neat, secure manner that provides easy access and reduce the potential for falling, collapsing, rolling or spreading of the material. Eighth one, never store chemical containers directly on top of another, and you should be very careful with acids or bases or flammables with oxidizers. Okay. Ninth one, containers holding chemicals should not be stored on the floor. When this is unavoidable, then store the containers in plastic tubes or any other secondary container. Tenth one, never store hazardous materials in refrigerators that contain food. Okay. Now let us see what is RAMP concept laboratory. Okay, that is RAMP. In this you are going to study recognize the hazards. R means recognize the hazards, first letter. Okay. A stands for access the hazards, M stands for minimize the hazards, and P stands for prepare for emergencies. Okay. First let us see what is meant by RAMP. Okay. First one is recognize the hazards. There are two types of hazards, physical hazards and chemical hazards. Okay. First let us learn what are chemical hazards and safe handling of chemicals. Okay. Now what are general guidelines? Working with highly harmful chemicals is an everyday occurrence in a laboratory. Okay. For most commercially available substances, detailed instructions are available in the material safety data sheet, that is MSDS. Okay. Therefore, a hard copy of MSDS for each lab is required. The material safety data sheet describes the properties, reactivities, potential chemical hazards and safe handling procedures for commercially available chemicals you are working with. Okay. These sheets must be easily available in a specified folder. Alright. All lab personnel must know where it is kept. Okay. The use of chemicals in a laboratory is generally in a more controlled environment than in the industrial setting, and much smaller quantities of the chemicals should be used at one time. Okay. MSDS are generally written for chemicals that are used in the industry setting. Therefore, some of the information provided on the MSDS may not be applicable to laboratory usage. Okay. Students are to be familiarized with the pictograms and hazard codes widely used to mark risks. Okay. Now what is GHS? That is globally harmonized system. GHS stands for globally harmonized system of classification, okay, and labeling of chemicals that defines and classifies the hazards of chemical products and communicates health and safety information. Okay. The aim is that the same set of rules for classifying hazards and the same format and content of the labels and safety data sheets, that is STS, will be adopted and used all around the world. Okay. It is important that those working with chemicals are aware of all the signs and symbols on the chemical containers. The symbols and related hazard information that are commonly encountered in research labs, okay, are given here. You can see here. Okay. This symbol is for corrosive. Okay. And this is the symbol for explosive. Okay. And this symbolic or pictorial representation is for flammable. Okay. And this representation is for nature polluting. Okay. And suppose this is the symbol or picture used, this is for oxidizing. Okay. And suppose this symbol or picture is used, it is for toxic. Okay. And this symbol is for harmful. Alright. And this symbol is for non-flammable gas, okay, and this is for hazardous to health. All right. So, I have selected only a few one, okay. There are like this, there are number of other representation also, okay. Some important one I have given over here. All right. Now, let us see chemical storage. Proper storage of chemicals is necessary to maximize employee safety and with regard to chemical compatibility, spill control, fire or explosion control, to provide security. Okay. First one is all containers used for storage, even short time duration, should be labeled. Okay. Second one, bulk flammable should be placed away from the working laboratory. All right. Third one is large quantities of concentrated mineral acids. For example, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrochloric acid shall be kept in specific storage rooms or cabinets for corrosive substances. Okay. That means they should be kept separately, okay, in the laboratory. Acids, bases, flammables, strong reducing and oxidizing agents should be segregated within the laboratory. Okay. That means they should be kept separately, not along with other chemicals. All right. Water reactive materials must be separated from all other chemicals stored, and working amount of hazardous chemicals shall be kept to a minimum. Okay. Fourth one, out of date chemicals shall be disposed of on a periodic basis to reduce overall hazard potential and minimize inventory tracking and updating. Okay. Fifth one, reduce large inventory of chemicals in the laboratory. Sixth one, chemical containers that have been emptied have to be cleaned of remaining residues by triple rinsing with water or other suitable solvent and air dried before disposal. Okay. Now, let us see what are the health effects. First one is acids and bases. Due to their corrosive nature, they can irritate or burn the eyes, irritate the skin and cause respiratory distress. The risk is higher when they are concentrated, but even when diluted they can be hazardous. Okay. Protective equipment including chemical goggles, aprons and gloves is essential, okay, in the laboratory. The teacher should research the handling of specific acids or bases by studying the STS before using them. Okay. Second one is halogens. These elements are highly reactive. All right. They are toxic, corrosive and capable of irritating the skin also. Okay. In the pre-college setting, they should only be used in small quantities by the teacher in a well-ventilated hood using appropriate personal protective equipment, okay, that is known as PPE, and with an appropriate reducing agent, that is sodium thiosulfate, present to clean up spills. Okay. Next is hydrocarbons and volatile organic compounds. These compounds are combustible or flammable and can irritate the skin. Okay. Therefore, they should be always be used in a well ventilated area, okay, or with the hood and away from any open flames. Flammables and combustibles must never be heated on a hot plate. Okay. Next is mercury. Mercury is a serious chronic health hazard. You must be knowing that. Although it is not readily absorbed through the skin, its greatest health hazard is due to inhalation of its vapors, usually as a result of a spill. Okay. Mercury compounds, for example, alkyl mercury, are extremely toxic and must be handled with extreme care. Mercury vapors are odorless, colorless and tasteless. Mercury poisoning from exposure by chronic inhalation can cause emotional disturbances, unsteadiness, inflammation of the mouth and gums, general fatigue, memory loss and headaches. Okay. Next is flammables. These are most commonly used in the laboratory as solvents. Never use any type of open flame or any source of ignition around flammable chemicals. Examples are acetone, ethanol, ethyl acetate, hexane, methanol. Okay. Now let us see physical hazards. Okay. Hazards in the laboratory not only include chemical hazards but physical hazards also. Okay. These include but are not limited to compressed gases, electrical equipment and thermal hazards. Compressed gases are leaks and ruptures can cause asphyxiation or turn the gas cylinder into a projectile. Okay. Compressed gas cylinders must be restrained in an upright position in the lab at 1/3 and 2/3 the height of the tank, preferably with chains. Okay. Caps must be in place when a cylinder is not in use. Make sure regulator and supply lines are in a good condition. Okay. Never use rigid plastic tubing which can shatter if the pressure limits are exceeded. Okay. When turning on the gas, ensure that the flow valve is open, alright, so that there will be no pressure in the supply line. Okay. Adjust flow valve only after you have opened the regulator. Now electrical equipment. Always inspect electrical cords prior to use. Do not use if they are cracked or exposed wiring. Never use electrical appliances near water. Okay. Make sure hands are dry when unplugging a cord. Do not overload outlets. Avoid excessive use or daisy chaining, that is several cords strung together, okay, of extension cords. Now let us see what are thermal hazards. Use heat resistant gloves when handling hot items. Never leave hot plates unattended. Okay. Bunsen burners. Bunsen burners, inspect tubing prior to using the burner. You should not have cracks and should fit tightly to the burner and to the gas spigot. Be alert to gas leaks along the tubing. These can ignite. Stand back from the burner when lighting the gas. Okay. So, I will stop at this stage. Please go through all the slides. Any clarification, please contact me. Alright. Thank you.